Let's talk about sharing outdoor traditions because it's really about the family and it's about, and this is, I know where you want to go with this, and we got a lot to talk about. So,
But the reason I said fall tradition, or the reason I said outdoor traditions, is that fall is one of the most beautiful times of the year in Michigan. I mean, it's a beautiful state, has a lot of water, but fall showcases the colors, the climate, the bugs go away. It's just an enjoyable time of the year before we get to frigidity in winter, but there's a need for that season. But if you think about it, fall is wrapped up in so many different ways. There's traditions. People have outdoor activities that they do, tailgating for their favorite sports team, or they may have Thanksgiving, or they may have, you've got things going on in the fall that are very family based, very group based. If you do hunting, if you do fishing, if you do canning, a lot of people I know right now this time of year are canning and putting away the stores from all the fruits and the vegetables and things that they picked in their garden. I mean, there's just a lot of group-based activities. And so I really thought about that is how those experiences create lasting memories. And what I thought was really interesting, I was talking, all my children have hunted and have gone through hunter safety, and they've gone in the field with me, both hunting and fishing. But it's interesting what they take away now that they're adults and what they miss. And one of my children, I will leave them nameless because they may or may not want me to say that today, but they said, I really want to come up with deer camp, but I just don't really want to do the deer thing, but I want to be there for the camp because I like playing cards, I like the food, I like the visiting, like I want to see people, and I don't know if I want to hunt this year. I'm like, that's totally cool. I mean, I'd be really happy to have you at deer camp because it really is another tradition. I mean, it's a tradition in a lot of families where they have different activities they get together for. Um, and so I started thinking about that. And what's really interesting is how you encode or how you store memories, because memories are multimodal. And many people have experienced different times. Either you walk in somewhere and you hear a song playing and it reminds you of something you haven't thought of for many years because your brain has a way of keeping that information. We sometimes struggle calling what we want to remember up, but it's there. It might be that you walk into a place and smell a candle burning or somebody cooking something and it reminds you of your grandmother or you might remember something. Most of those memories are positive, but some of them can be negative. And so we want to think about that. But the reason I say that is because the antidote I wanted to get to is you mentioned it as your lead into the show, and you've done it time and time and time again. Why would you not want to come outdoors with me when I know you do outdoor things? So what is it? And share a little bit about what it is that you remember that makes you a little maybe hesitant to want to go do an outdoor activity, Tom.
evolving roles and skills. Go ahead, bro.
Well, I'm going to use your example. If let's say they're a Spartan fan, because that's awesome, and they're used to going to basketball games, they might address the way they show up for a basketball game, but because the venue changed, the equipment needed to change. They're not sitting inside the heated Breslin, they're sitting outside at Spartan Stadium, and as you mentioned, the weather is very different. So the first thing is people need to understand, engage, what do they know, what level do they know, and are they informed on the type of activity you're going to participate in. Even taking a long bike ride, going out on some of these walking trails. If you're on the river trail and the weather's nice and you know where you're going, are you prepared? Do you have a water bottle, etc.? So part of it is really understanding where they're at with the skill set. So ask them if, hey, best way to get people to participate in activities, hey, I'm going to go for a walk, or I'm going to go for a bike ride, or I'm going to do this. You want to join me? That's a great relationship builder. It's a good way to spend time with people, especially if you're looking to break the ice with family members. Especially if you're feeling a different stage of life where you're disconnecting. But ask people to participate and then understand, are they are they getting introduced to the activity for the first time? If they are, coach them up and mentor them. Hey, you probably want to think about this, or we need to take that. You might oftentimes I will pack my backpack with what they're going to need, even if they don't take it. So when they do say, oh, I forgot that, I'll be like, I've got an extra one. And I don't make them feel bad about that. Just put it in your backpack. You know what they need. If there's a water bottle need, then take two. If there's a little bit of a blanket, then put an extra one in there because you know what you anticipate you're going to need. And the other thing is really not making people feel uncomfortable while you're doing it. So you want to gauge their level of knowledge. Are they introduction, basic, intermediate, and then the big thing is how you influence. If you're coaching or mentoring, a lot of people don't want to be wrong. I know people that will be in the cold, you can see them shivering, and they don't want to ask for something. So really be coachable or be a good mentor in the fact, like I said, I pack extra gear because I know people might forget something. And then I sometimes will take it out and set it down and say, hey, I've got our 2 blankets that we're going to need. I will not ask if I know that it's awkward because I don't want to make them feel awkward. Like, well, I don't want to use yours. No, I brought one for you. Then it makes it feel like they didn't know what they were doing. So sometimes I'm just like, hey, this activity needed 2 of these and I brought them so that we had what we need. That's a very different introduction. So, you know, be a little mindful about how you talk to someone. Some people will be very welcoming of questions. Other times, just spend time with them. If they're not asking a lot, just let them kind of be with that experience because what happens is you are really taking in information. Your eyes are looking at things, you're hearing things. And so the big thing is it's partly your personal growth, how you go through that. And those are life skills you can use in other areas of your life too. They don't have to just be for this segment of the show, but it's really transitioning. Our roles in life continue to change as we grow older, or as I say, sometimes leveling up your character. You make mistakes, you learn from those mistakes, and you grow. How you share those experiences with other people will have an immediate and long-term effect. You and I both worked in the skilled trades. I disagree with the idea that I need to make somebody hit their thumb with a hammer. I'll just tell them, don't do that. It'll hurt. Now, if they do it, they'll be like, you told me that was going to hurt. But I'm not going to wait and not tell you so you do. And then I go, well, of course it's going to hurt. I don't want them to have that negative experience because it might stop them from working in that trade. And that might have been something they were amazing at. So I'm really an enabler in transformation of process. I want people to have a good experience. So the speed that you learn skills and that you adapt to things is greatly or can be greatly influenced by others. And my personal antidote for you is that my dad was not really a big hunting fishing person. My brother and I read every Field and Stream magazine, every outdoor life issue. We read it all. We went out to try to learn how to do it. And most of the time we didn't do it right because we didn't know. So we made a lot of mistakes. That's probably why when people ask me questions today, like, hey, how do you tie that fishing knot? I'm like, don't do that one. The line's going to break. Oh, well, why? It says so in the book. I'm like, the book is somewhat right, but in how you're using it, it's going to break. And so you don't want them to have that loss of a $5 or $10 piece of equipment that they didn't need to lose. So it's just learning, but I've made a lot of mistakes and I laugh at them now. They were very frustrating at times and nobody likes to have mistakes and or bad experiences, but that's why I'm so passionate about sharing ideas with people. So if your dad might have done some things differently, he probably had a great time or he just did what he was used to doing. I don't know what his level of skill was. He may have been introductory and or he may have gotten one phase in front of you. He may have been a beginning duck hunter. It sounds like he didn't think a few things out, and he had taken you with him to experience it. And you guys kind of walked away with like, we need a dog or a skiff so we can get out there and get the stuff. And like, there's some other stuff we want to do here.
I want to comment on that because what you said about examples and innovation, the thought that I had in my head was, okay, so you go, for example, when you're a kid and you go sledding and you've got heavier clothes or wool clothes or whatever, the progress that we have made in just the apparel. And like Doug knows, I mean, I've said I'm not a real cold fan, but the apparel and the boots and the gloves have gotten so much better. Yeah, they're a little bit pricey sometimes, but I tell you, Doug, I think it's worth the money when you invest in like good boots or a nice jacket. It's worth that. What's your quick answer on that, on the investment of potential new innovative clothing designs and boots,
Well,
stuff
the
like that?
clothing is absolutely innovative, and the clothing is absolutely, if you have the money to buy the top brands, it's available. But you hit me right in the chest with one of my other things, which is there's clothing banks and there are places out there that need you to be donating these things to other people, because single parents that are working trying to keep a job going are going to be looking for a value purchase, and that value may be made of lesser grade products. There's backpack drives, there's all kinds of things out there that help at community levels. And so the other places, don't forget thrift shops and other places like that, because you can oftentimes go to Goodwill, St. Vincent de Paul or VOA, any of those places, and find stuff that other people have said, I've lightly used it, or I'm done with it, or maybe we don't use it anymore because this person moved or is passed on. Then you can get those products at a very affordable price. So it's important. They are out there, but uh, if you're a great mentor, get the stuff that somebody needs, even if you have to buy it for them, so they have a good experience.
How would you like people to get a hold of you, connecting with you? What's the easiest way?
I would say your program, Tom. You can find me on the internet. I've said this before on other shows. I have a pretty public facing program if you search for me, and hunting, fishing, karate, or any of the things I do. But this spot has a permanent space, so I'm going to go back to you, sir. You have a link, and you can easily connect to me if somebody has a question, and I'll answer or post it on your website for everybody.
Go ahead. How do we encourage people to be more in line and conducive to thinking about this?
Well, so that's a really, it seemed like a little question, but it's really big question. So the first thing is, I'm not going to spout a specific number. We've used them in the past, but the outdoor industry, you can search, they do a report on all outdoor activities, and that the outdoor industry is also has major partners like REI and all the major equipment companies, the sporting goods companies that sell things. They all report in so they can kind of keep track. Is kayaking up? Is mountain biking up? What we've seen is that just in general, this current generation is has different interests than the former generations. That's not good or bad. It's just showing that certain activities are peaking a little more. We've noticed that a lot of bike riding, even bike riding with the fat tires and winter biking, is something that's a lot newer. I think it's overtaking cross country skiing a little bit. Used to be cross country skiing was a major winter activity. We're seeing more and more people riding bikes. And I think part of that's influenced by e-bikes, because there's still some controversy of whether e-bikes should be considered a regular bike for biking trails. And some states are kind of contesting that. But I think anything that gets people outdoors and gets them in nature and lets them experience that is positive. So I'm not taking a stance, but I know there are people who have health things, and if they've always been a bike person and their health is giving them a challenge, I mean, my health is in a state of change every year. And so if there's some time when they can still participate in something they love just by getting some battery power, then let them do it.
I
Part of it
told
is really taking tech capabilities as well.
Doug, what are some of the challenges or barriers to outdoor participation in things that we haven't discussed yet? Because we have covered quite a bit of these little things that would appeal or not appeal to
Well,
Tom.
I think one of the challenges, depending on the type of activity, so I'm going to separate activities that have a high level of danger versus activities that don't. So if you're doing anything that involves like boating, water, like there's a picture of me fishing from shore behind me, I'm fly fishing. That's not as dangerous as being in a boat. And if somebody hasn't been properly trained to swim, or they don't have the proper flotation equipment, so some parents or even adults, I have a person who I invite to fish all the time. They are very terrified of water, and I have to make sure that they have lots of things that they feel comfortable about for them to go on a boat with me, because they have a great fear of water. I suspect they might have been taught to swim by getting thrown in a water by a parent, which I know people have done. I don't think it's healthy, and I think it's very traumatic, but they have a bad experience with water, but they like to go out fishing, but they're just very cautious. So the first thing is, make sure you have the protective equipment or safety measures in place, and the education, especially if you're doing anything that has danger. Education is critical. I think education is important now And there's more ways, especially if you're taking somebody younger or somebody unfamiliar, you probably can find a YouTube video that says, hey, what's it like to go do this activity? It could be, what do you need to go play disc golf? And then you can watch. So if people are pretty comfortable with watching YouTube or media, if you can see a demo and kind of see what it looks like, they feel more comfortable. It's kind of like how people mystery shop if they want to buy something. They kind of look it up on the internet and then they might go get it in the store or they might just order it online. So use those technologies. A great thing I found really is an interesting bridge for people to see. Another version is I have a drone, a little drone that I have, and I've engaged younger people, just letting them fly the drone and look at nature from their computer screen or the phone, and then they're like, that's pretty cool, I want to go look at that. It's like, okay, well, we can hike over there, because they'll sometimes see stuff. It's using the drone is kind of an interesting way, as me as a coach saying, you play video games, you have all the hand-eye coordination. Some of you are better flying it than I am. But the point is, once they use it, they're like, that was a really cool tree. I want to go see that. So use the technologies that are available and the tools that are available to encourage and spark a sense of a wonder, or create get a sense of. That's what I always got from the Field and Stream magazines. Reading books or hearing a radio program made me imagine what it might be like, and then I wanted to go try it. So you want to encourage that part. You want to create that for those people, and you want to inform them as much as you can so that they have a good experience. The other thing I want to say is passion. There's a couple programs out there I don't want to go without mentioning. This time of year, a lot of people are hunting. Remember, there's wild game donation programs. I put the link in your text chat. Just put that in your show. If you are hunting and you don't have a big family, or you want to donate, you can donate to the meat processors that are processing that, and then we'll put it in the food banks for the local communities. You can also make a financial donation to those programs, because those butchers and those meat processing facilities are donating their time and efforts at a great discount to help, with a passion, saying, if you bring us an animal, we'll process it and make people food. So, you can even do that if you don't want to go out in the outdoors. That's a one I don't want to go by us. There's a lot of programs, Hunters Against the Hungry, but they're all generally under wild game donation. And you can, just think about that. That is a really positive thing. And this generation tends to be more, uh, what do I want to say? They're very concerned with what are we doing to the world. So helping others, helping make the world better, using materials or not doing things that are making eco problems, very resonating. So, it's really good. Maybe if you want to take somebody out and do a project with them, like, hey, let's go pick up some trash from along the lakeside and make make remove obstacles that a duck could get their neck stuck in something, or that a turtle could get hurt. That might be their passion to start experiencing nature more, because they have a passion to want to do something that has an impact. So that would be the other part. It's not just entertainment. It's they're passionate about the world, and that's why we're bound to the outdoor part of the world, but sometimes we're indoors. So it's connecting the two so people can have that wonder and experience that. And so that's my thoughts.
What would your takeaway be? Great topic today, as usual, your 12th visit to the radio program. I appreciate your time very much. What would you like to leave the listeners with on your 12th visit?
I would leave with this. When I was 14 years old, I went from Michigan to the center of the Rocky Mountains, and the wonder of just standing there looking at the Eisenhower Tunnel and the mountains were beyond words. I have memories then that I still can't put fully into words, looking at snow-capped mountains. It just moves you in ways that there's no words for. So get people outdoors, let them see the northern lights, let them watch the stars at night, breathe fresh air, watch the fall colors, go to an orchard, go up to, you know, go north to St. John, or go to, John Cider Mill, go to some of those places and just do something outdoors. And that will make memories that will start to foster a long-term relationship that will make them have a curiosity for nature and the world we live in, that will make the world a better place.
Doug Resseguie is a great resource for us. Love the guy so much. He is one of the most purest, kindest, best men around. And with the way he speaks and the love for his outdoors, he's just a great resource for the Midwest and for Michigan and for our family and his family. And he's just a great guy. So listen to some of the things he has to say. I'll put some of the links up that he shared with us, which are always substantial. And Doug Resseguie, he's a kingpin. Resseguie. You'll see it in the title of the show and all of those good things. Until next time, everybody. I want to thank everybody for following, listening, watching, doing all those good things. YouTube's blown up and it's getting kind of crazy. I mean, we have shows now that are getting 2,000-3,000 views on our shows, and it's just takes time, but we're all down with it. So until next time, we'll talk to you next time. My name is Papa Tom, and this has been the Tom Matt Show. Peace out, everybody. Love y'all. Have a great day.